Hi, good afternoon, good morning, good evening, wherever you find yourself. Welcome to the podcast. This is Daring to Differ with Anarchy. You know, I don't even know why I'm laughing there, but if you guys were just preview to what is happening behind the scenes, trust me, recording by yourself is not easy. I'm literally just making blunders every day. But because podcasting is always something that I've wanted to do, I've decided to just go with the flow. You know, this morning, just when I opened the shower, I was like, why don't I just record my podcast episodes during my lunch hour? How would that feel like? Because to be honest, I really don't have time. I have a 3-month-old baby, and recording after work is just not possible. Recording on weekends or during weekends is also a bit difficult for me because now I need to clean the house, do all the household chores, and also pay attention to my newborn. I'm really struggling to find time, but this thought which just came in my mind just when I stepped into the shower this morning. I decided to act on it. So I'm giving it a shot, the recording in my lunch hour. My workplace, luckily, is not far from my house, or is it my house that is not far from my workplace? It's just about 10 minutes. So I have like 20 minutes in total dedicated to driving from work to home and back to work. So this is the new approach that I'm going to be doing, but I also just need to maybe knowing that it takes so much time to record or to put the equipment into place. I need to start leaving the studio sort of already prepared. Yes, it's not a studio. I'm literally just recording from my living room. So I need to be disciplined. I need to start leaving my gear already ready for set for when I chip in during my lunch hour. But you know what? Life is for the living, guys. We are learning together. I am bringing you guys along this beautiful journey in my life, and I'm just happy that I'm creating it at the time of my life where I have so much peace and I'm just being anarchy. And this is the reason why the title of this podcast is Daring to Differ. We are daring to do new things that are not familiar to us. We are daring to disrupt our routines. I mean, a whole lunch hour, all you do is sit at the office and just talk. What if you spend at least 20 minutes investing in your art, in your craft? And that was the thought that came in my mind this morning, just when I was bathing. I was starting to bath, so I'm like, or showering. So I'm like, let's give it a try. And life is for those who act on their decisions, those who act on that little thought that is in your mind and you act on it. So I don't know how this episode is gonna come out, the quality, the lighting. Today's episode, I want to talk about the importance of exposure, being exposed to new ideas, new environments, new people, new landscapes in your life, and how it can change the trajectory of your life. So as per usual on this podcast, I am showing up as Anarchy, that little girl who had a dream in Chibarongo, growing up in the dusty streets, but dreaming about something that is not even so clear because her environment was limiting. So how did I get out of that limiting environment where all I knew was seeing ghettos and walking to school through various streets because the school was far? How did I become the person that I am, the person from the ghetto, the lady who is daring, the lady who is audacious and trying out new things? So this is how I unlocked my mind, or how I started started seeing things differently. So as much as I was staying in the ghettos, there was a time, at least 2 years of my life, grade 10, 11, 12, 3 years of my life, where my mom said, you know what, I'm sending you to the hostel. It's a local hostel in Ochivarongo. So a hostel is basically where learners stay and they live there and go to school. So I lived in the hostel. So during my stay in the hostel, I was exposed to fellow learners from different backgrounds. I was exposed to those who came from middle income class, those who just had better things than I had. I could see their lifestyle was better than mine. I could see how their families would pick them up from school, drop them off to school, and I could just see, man, you could just see that there was a difference when you look at their lifestyle compared to my lifestyle. That's a difference, and it was a positive difference. I could see that, actually, you don't need to just have one roll on, but your parents can buy you multiple roll ons enough for the semester, and you can have different types of snacks. You just don't need to have Movites. Other kids came really with better things than mine, and that was beautiful. I could not relate because it was different from me, but I could just see that there's a better life out there. So that was during the first time it clicked. Seeing things differently, or seeing what is different from my background, was during the hostel time. And then the second time it occurred again for when, remember, in one of my episodes I did talk about how I didn't go straight to university, and I took 2 gap years, right? So in these 2 gap years, I worked at a safari lodge. It's called Kambaku Safari Lodge. So I've been there for 2 years, and you know what it did? Although that opportunity occurred really in a time where I felt like something was being taken away from me, which is me going for my university. It's thinking of it now, I'm actually appreciating that experience, because you know what it did? It exposed me further to a different community. I was interacting with tourists from different countries. We had tourists mainly from Germany. We had those that came from Italy, Switzerland, but mostly from Europe, basically, and a few from the UK. But what then this lodge did, for them to bridge the gap between the staff and the guests, what they did, through their hospitality school, they were training us. So we had some few lessons or courses during weekends and after work, where they would just teach us about the European landscape. They would teach us about the different countries in Europe. Where is Germany? What is the cuisine in Germany? What do people in France eat? The Swiss chocolate that we get, where does it come from? It comes from Africa, from cocoa. It was just a good experience. They would teach us about the different languages spoken in these European countries. They would even teach us basics of German. So because of the basics of German that they taught us, it just made our life as staff members easier, because we would then communicate with the guests. That's the time I was working in the housekeeping department, so I had access to talk to various guests, go to their rooms. I would take drinks to them. Also, at some point I was working in the restaurant, and I'll see people living like luxurious life, like a life that is so calm and so peaceful. And I'll see them read books under the sun. I would see them go for game drive with their families. I would see the type of food they were dining at the lodge. I would see the type of service they expected from us. We needed to be friendly, prompt. We needed to be like really fast. That's just the German culture. Everything needs to happen quick and fast. Pay attention to detail. So these were just things I was learning. I didn't know that I was learning at the time. For me, it was just a job, because I was 19, naive, a go-getter. So I was learning all these aspects of life, the skills that I'm now, or the knowledge that I'm now applying. So with this experience, I started noticing that these are just people like me. If they're able to bring their children for holiday to Namibia, to a different country, even a different continent for that matter, I think I can also do it. If they're reading books, I think I can also start reading books. The way how they carry themselves, I was just in awe. I was literally just in awe. Remember, I'm just this girl from the ghetto. The more I engaged with the guests, I realized that these people have just built their careers. They have built who they are today, and I can do the same for myself. So I started also reading at the time, and that's the beauty of the era where we grew in. So I was 19, but Facebook was just, I think it was just starting, right? So I didn't really have so much access to Facebook and all this type of social media whatever that is happening. So I had enough time to read. I had like a very old laptop, which I bought, mind you, with my salary. So I would spend most of the time when I'm off surfing the internet, surfing, trying to understand in terms of these countries that we're learning about. What is unique about them? What is the culture in these countries, and the whole tourism sector, basically. And with time, I got access to newsletters that will speak about things that has to do with personal development, how to become successful, how to become just different things that speaks to becoming a better person regardless of your economic status. That's when I then started also reading Matters of the Mind, neuroplasticity. How can you change the way you think and become a different person regardless of where you come from? So I was a chubby child back then. Now I still look chubby. This is simply because, as I said, I have a 3-month-old baby. It's just now postpartum, But I was a chubby child. And because I used to see tourists cycling at the lodge, and I was the manager, can we not also as staff use these bicycles? So I started using these bicycles, cycling. I lost so much weight, and which was actually a good thing for me. I felt so confident in my weight at the time, and I was just a curious child actually. During that time, I got a learner's book and I learned how to drive. Eventually I learned how to drive, and I got my driver's license when I was only 19 years old, because I had all the time. When my friends were in university, for me I was like, at least when I go back to Windhoek, I should have proved that I've been up to something. I got my driver's license. So I was continuously and intentionally improving my life, But it was just one little thing that happened to me being in a different environment, me speaking from people or to people that are not from my background. I think for me, that was the reason why I decided that anarchy, where you come from, is not who you're gonna become. Apply what other people are doing, and that's how I tailored my life. And these are the things that I also want you to do. One, the fact that I live in Namibia. In Namibia, we have different ethnic groups, right? So my friends, I have a rich pool of friends, but these are like really high quality friends. But my friends, they are all not Ashivambo speaking. It's people from different ethnic groups. I have Damara friends, I have Herero friends, I have Vambo friends, I have white friends, I have Basta friends. These are people from different ethnic groups or backgrounds also economically, and I'm learning something from them. I don't only associate myself with the people that I know are from my economic background. No, I diversify. I don't go to just usual places. I go to different restaurants. I go to places where I know I should be able to meet different people, learn one or two things. The other day after church, I went to a place, it's Ferrari's, Blueberry restaurant, and I came across a mother who had 2 kids, and I showed up also with my 2 babies, and we had a very good, delicious discussion, just 2 mothers together, conversating, and I could pick up that her kids, the way they were speaking, they're so articulate, they're so concise, they're so eloquent. And I asked her, like, where are your kids schooling? And she told me, like, they school at an international school. After we finished having our meal, we then walked together, because then the restaurant was closing. We walked out together. We're now both going to our cars, right? In fact, we then said bye to each other. It was nice meeting you. But during our conversation, nobody said where they're working. She didn't say where she works. I didn't say where I work. It was just 2 mothers having an intense, deep, conversation, how we're balancing life. And our kids were even playing together, And on our way out, one of the kids now, the girl, the woman's daughter then says, I'm Italian and we speak Italian at home. And the brother also said the same thing, and my daughter was like, I'm Vambu. We speak Oshiwambo, and she actually said, I'm Vambu. I'm a Vambu girl. She said something like that. And we left it off. Just as I was now headed to my car, I turned back and I looked at the lady's vehicle, and I noticed the number plate rather is that of a diplomat. And I was like, no wonder. I kept looking. When we were actually talking, I couldn't. I noticed that I'd seen her somewhere, but I couldn't tell where. That's when I realized later that, actually, she's part of the EU, right? She's a diplomat there, and it was just a good opportunity. It was a good exposure for me, because we're not even conversating from I'm a diplomat and this is what I do, and also me saying that I'm also what it had nothing to do with titles. And I think that was again an opportunity just to see how diplomats also live as mothers, as much as they have so many responsibilities. But our conversation did not start from there. So had I not gone to that restaurant, I was not going to meet her. And I'm pretty sure that with time, I might even now meet her, maybe in a work setting, that's how networking works. But had I just gone to church and go straight home, I don't think that opportunity was going to present itself, So go to different places. If you are in school, university, don't just stay with the same people because you're all from the same village or you're from the same locality. No. You need to expose yourself to different people. The more you expose yourself, the more curious you become, the more you learn what you don't know, and the more you even start unlearning, So take action today. Ask yourself, what are the new things that I'm going to be doing moving forward? For me, when you look at where I come from and where I am today, it's just so different from each other. It's two different landscapes. And this is because I intentionally decided to take up opportunities and expose myself to various things, various people. And even just in terms of now, I love reading, right? Reading has also further opened the way how I see things, the way how I can relate, because that's like a whole different world there. The information that we are all seeking for, it's in the books. And I don't need to travel physically for me to meet or to see for me to see how people in Italy are living. I can read that through the books. Of course, traveling is a good thing, but not all of us have the finances to fill that gap. But also, it doesn't mean just because we are not able to move from one country to another, we should stay in a cocoon. No, use the internet. For me, I follow a lot of podcasts in Africa and also just across the globe, and I'm able to relate a lot. I've not been to Kenya, but because I watch or listen content from Kenya, I'm able to relate with Kenyans. Uganda, there's a word that they like using, banange. I've not been to Uganda, but if I meet a Ugandan, I'm able to tell that they're from Uganda. South Africans, oh my gosh, those are like our cousins. But it's because I'm intentionally telling myself that you need to know what is happening in Africa. You need to know what is happening in the world. What are you doing? Botswana, I recently came across podcasters from Botswana, and I was able to see how they use every time hore, and it's just like a breath of fresh air. Don't be in a cocoon in a world where we live currently, digitalization, in the world where we are able to access free information. There's some big events that happen globally, be it in the area of self-help, be it in your particular industry that you're interested in. You notice that some of these events, they cost a lot of money if you are to attend live. But just 2 days later or after the event, you notice that whatever was shared in that event, they would broadcast it on YouTube. So use the 2 hours or the 3 days to catch up with this knowledge. This is free knowledge. I was watching the other day a conference in Nigeria. It's called Shiken Nigeria. It's a movement where they are teaching us women to recognize our strengths and capitalize on it and improve ourselves, our communities, etc. But I don't need to be in Nigeria for me to attend that event. I just need to know where to find the information. But for you to be able to find the things that will contribute to your life, or to your life basically. You need to know what is that you want, what is that you need to put in the search engine. But for you to fill that gap is because you need to be curious. You need to have a curious mind. One information will lead you to another information. The other information will lead you to another information. That's just how life works. So dare yourself and move away from doing the normal things, having a day that is the same, doing routines that are just the same. You go to work, after work you watch Netflix, you sit by the couch, you go through social media platforms, you go from TikTok to Instagram. By the time you're going to reach LinkedIn or whatever, you're tired, you want to sleep. Girl, boy, use your time, expose yourself, be hungry for knowledge, be hungry for information. That's how you grow yourself, especially for my folks, my people, my community that are from the poor background. By default, when we're born, we're already disadvantaged by default. And for us to do something about our situation is for when we take intentional action to develop ourselves, to enhance, to learn, and to just remain curious, because already life was just not fair for when we were born, because we're born in those families, in those communities. That is something we can't do about. We can't do anything about it. But currently, we have at least the resources, we have the energy, and we just need to put it where it deserves to be. So dare yourself today. What is that thing that you're going to do that would expose you, be it to new opportunities, new people, new environments? How are you going to feed your curious mind? Write it down and do take action. Remember, I'm recording during my lunch hour, my lunch break, simply because this is a thought which I had in the morning and I'm executing it. If you are a person who is part of this movement, who dares, what is unique about us is that we take action. We move. We take deliberate action. We prototype, put it in the market, observe, is it working? We rebuild. That's what I'm doing with this podcast. I'm going to look at this at this episode. Did I do whatever I was supposed to do? And I will improve because I am putting myself in the arena. You can only improve when you're in the arena, not when you're only journaling and writing, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do this. But so long as you don't get a prototype and review it and improve it, your life is going to be the same every day. I don't want to say it's going to be boring, but that's actually what's going to happen. So thank you again, my good people. Remember to subscribe, like, and share. Please, a lot of you're watching, you're not subscribing. Hey, and also please do give me feedback. Let me know what episodes you want to hear from me. I just want to say have a lovely day. I'm chipping out, daring to differ with Anarchy, your platform to allow yourself to be unique, to be different, and live your life to the best, to your best ability. I'll see you in the next episode.